Thank you, Mayor Reed, and we look forward to having the Falcons and any other team coming to the Super Bowl. And it's ironic, I'm speaking about the bullet train that connects Houston to Dallas, and both Houston and Dallas teams were taken out this past weekend. So that is unfortunate, but nonetheless, this bullet train won't be ready for the Falcons when you come, but the next time. Let me thank you for this opportunity. Let me just take a few minutes to talk about something that's exciting. When I came into office, we talked about a paradigm shift in Texas. We build roadway capacity, but simply building roadway capacity was not going to be good enough to move the people coming. Between now and 2050, the population of the state of Texas will double. And right now, the commute between Houston and Dallas is about 4 hours. By 2035, we're expecting the commute to be about 6.5 hours or more. So we needed to do something else. Texas Central Railways has stepped up. This is a private funded initiative, no state or local funding at all. It is a $12 to $13 billion project that's taking place, but working very collaboratively with the cities of Houston and Dallas. Between those two regions alone, the two mega centers in Texas, you have about 13 million people, and they are growing at an exponential rate. The distance between the two is about 240 miles, and this is a bullet train that will run between the two, a 90-minute ride, one stop in Brazos Valley, where there's Texas A&M University in South Houston, about 80,000 kids, and then it will go straight on from Houston to Dallas, Dallas back to Houston, 90 minutes, top speed of about 205 miles per hour. Using some modern day technology, the Shinkansen M700 out of Japan has been in place for about 50 years. There has never been an accident, zero accident in 50 years. And even when there was an earthquake in Japan, because of the sensitivity of the technology, the train stopped on its own. And so it has proven to be very, very, very safe. And one of the reasons why they chose, they looked at pairing 97 cities before deciding on Houston and Dallas Fort Worth. The economies are pretty much the same between Houston and Dallas. And I'm sure the Dallas Cowboys, when they saw that the Houston Texans didn't make it, they decided they weren't going to make it, so we stay together. Either go together or we stay together. And so in this train, we'll stand together. The economies are the same. The distance was pretty much ideal, 240 miles. If it was any closer, the studies indicate people would drive. If it was any further, the studies indicated people would fly. So this is an ideal location. In terms of the regulatory framework, is conducive for this private investment operation. And so more than 10,000 jobs will be established. It's a 4-year construction. It's scheduled to start in 2018. We'll finish in 2023 when the first train will be running. 400 passengers every 30 minutes. Okay. With the exception of the nighttime hours, there'll be a break. But 400 every 30 minutes, 10,000 jobs per year for the 4 years, and even about 1,000 permanent jobs when it is completed. It's an all-electric rail system. There's no grade separation, so we not have to worry about that. Elevated viaduct. From all indications, when we looked at it, both from Houston's perspective and Dallas' perspective, this system worked. And right now, there's not been any forced taking of land. People have been selling. That's not to say it doesn't have its own opposition between Houston and Dallas, but we're working through that. I think people recognize that we needed something transformative, something that would be different, that would meet the needs of both regions, and quite frankly, meet the transformative needs for the state as a whole. And this seems to work. We're not saying it's good for everybody, for every region, but for Texas, for the Houston region, for the Dallas region, this high-speed bullet train works for us, and especially works when we turn to taxpayers, no state or local funding, but this is a good partnership collaborative effort between the private investors and what's happening here. And let me just add, over the next 25 years, economic impact, $36 billion. and $2.5 billion in taxes for our schools and other needs. I just don't think you can beat that. And they project that the ridership in 2025 will be about 5 million, and then by 2050, the ridership will double to 10 million people. And that's roughly about a third of the people that are traveling between the two. So Secretary Fox said it's a game changer. Let me echo that. I think it's a game changer. I think it's transformative, and certainly it's meeting the transit and transportation needs of the people in the city of Houston, specifically Houston and Dallas, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk about it.
I think the mayor has been kind enough to agree to entertain up to 3 questions. If any members of the audience have questions from the mayor, we'd be happy to recognize you.
So, Colin Pedder from Family After California. My question, you said no grade separations. That's something that we're finding harder and harder to embark. How do you do it with no grade separation?
It's running parallel to the existing tracks, and it will either go above, but it does not stop. No traffic has to stop. The cows can keep moving, wildlife can keep moving, nothing will stop. And it runs parallel, and it has its own dedicated track system. So we're not on the existing rail tracks at all, no competition with freight on the existing rail, and it will run parallel to the public utilities system.
We have Amtrak, which is a very fast train. It has to slow to 55, but 55 if you're trying to cross as a pedestrian, it really isn't.
Yeah, this is an elevated viaduct, and that's why it can maintain that speed of 205.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah.
It's
the Texas way.
Mayor, can you share any of the financing arrangements? It's an investment, but how does that investment pair out?
It is all private investors, okay? And you've got investors coming from the Dallas area, Houston, Japanese investors, others, but all private money. They're not relying on any state or federal grant monies at all. This is their money that they're invested. It is market-led, market-driven. They believe they can make it work and that they can profit from it, and we certainly are very pleased with that. Now, in terms of Dallas region and the Houston region, in terms of the right-of-way, of course, we're assisting on things of that, because a lot of the right-of-way we own, okay? So we're helping on that end. In terms of expediting permitting and things of that nature, we're participating there, But in terms of being able to say to the people in Houston and to the legislature, these are not your dollars. We're not going to come back to you 2 years from now, 4 years from now, and ask for more money. It is market-led, market-driven, and they believe they can make it work. And quite frankly, we're going to do everything we can to assist them on that end. We don't want government to stand in their way. Of course, we're waiting on the environmental impact study right now, but I think everything will be fine. So we've been working with them for a few years to make it happen.
And because it doesn't exist now, I would assume that the investment is on the ridership, and that's where everybody benefits.
Yep, that's correct. Now, I would still tell you that the MWB requirements, for example, for the city, will still apply here. Okay, so we're working with them. We're doing as much as we can to assist and remove any hurdles that may be in the way from a governmental point of view. If they're willing to invest $12 to $14 billion of their money, then certainly I think we can do everything we can to assist them on a market-driven solution. And from all indications, the market is certainly there. The survey indicated that well over 80% of people will utilize it. And for people like me who fly because I just have to, not because necessarily I want to, I'll get on that bullet train quick, fast, and in a hurry. But it's a game changer for the city and for the state, and it will be transformative. And certainly with the amount of distance that takes place between the two, between the Dallas-Fort Worth region and the city of Houston, I think all of the elements are there to suggest that it will do quite well. Okay.
How much is a ticket?
How much is a ticket? Less than the ticket cost of the ticket to go to the Super Bowl. I can't tell you that right. I can't tell you that right now. But look, both Dallas and Houston, we needed something. We're in pain right now. We've spent in Houston more than $1.5 billion downtown to entertain people for the Super Bowl. Quite frankly, we thought we were going to be in it ourselves. The train is a consolation prize. But we welcome the Falcons or anybody else to the city of Houston. This is just one of the elements that's taking place in the city to transform itself and take advantage of the changing economies and the changing dynamics that exist. And this is one of them. We have to think outside the box. And in the current climate, when people don't want us to utilize a lot of government funding, and when investors are willing to step up in a major way to meet our needs, then we're going to do everything we can to assist them in making it work.
Two questions. You run into any eminent domain issues, and the second question is, how was the decision made as to where it stopped in between, and why was it worth considering?
And eminent domain issues will always be the case. They're raising those issues in the legislature even right now, but thus far there hasn't had to be any involuntary taking, and it's going very well. People, they're paying market rate, and sometimes they're paying a little higher than the market rate for the property. And so as it moves and people see that others are selling, and of course you have Houston and the region supportive, and Dallas, the metro, and the Fort Worth region very supportive. I think things are going as well as anyone could possibly expect. And so that's a plus. In terms of the stop, we wanted to keep it to a 90-minute ride between the two, going back and forth. The stop in Brazos Valley makes sense with Texas A&M and Sam Houston. That 80,000 students right there, so that makes sense. And then quite frankly, when you're trying to build support in the rural areas between Houston and Dallas, making that stop would minimize the resistance. You make the stop, okay? Temporary stop instead of a permanent stop.
My name is Glenn Hendricks, Mayor Sylvester Turner, California. Do you have any words you could share about what is the transportation infrastructure that's having to be added at either one of the ends in terms of how people will be able to take using the high-speed rail and how they'll get around between the two cities?
One of the questions that we had to face, the questions is where did it stop? Quite frankly, there were many who wanted to stop downtown, the station to be in downtown Houston. And there has been some back and forth on that. And trying to bring it into downtown Houston, if it was going to have to go through neighborhoods, for example, it was going to face a great deal of resistance. There's a spot in Northwest Houston, for example, that would not have to go through so many neighborhoods, and I think they've indicated that that's probably where the station would be. And then we would have to provide the connectivity between that station and downtown, the energy corridor to the airports, and some other things. So we took into account how disruptive would it be to existing neighborhoods. And if it was going to be very disruptive, the answer was no. If there was a better suited location for the station, that's how we look at it. I think Dallas has resolved this issue, and then we're finalizing where the station will be in the city of Houston. Thank you, Mayor.
Well, I think that it was appropriate to have Mayor Turner to have a conversation about what is probably the most important 3P project in the United States of America, and for some of the thought leaders in the country to hear directly from this dynamic mayor. We are so grateful to you for your time. Please give him a warm round of applause.